Dangal greetings po, I'm Micah Dr. Delacruz, and i-discuss ko po yung project namin na tinatawag na Zoo Inventory System. So, itong system po na to is parang simpleng paraan ng zoo para mag-record at mag-manage ng mga hayop. So, instead of manual listing, nagamit po kami ng program para ma-store yung pangalan, species, edad, at enclosure number ng hayop. So, ang goal po ng system namin is gawing organized at mabilis ang pag-manage ng records sa zoo. So, yung features po ng system namin is merong add a new animal record, which is nag-a-add po tayo ng bagong hayop kasama ang details na name, species, age, and enclosure. Second is view all registered animals, which is makikita po natin lahat ng na-store na hayop in a tabular format. Tas, third is search for an animal by name. Pwede po tayo mag-search ng animal gamit yung pangalan nila. And then, count animals by species. Magbibilang po tayo kung ilan yung hayop sa isang species. Tapos, display animals in a specific enclosure. Makikita po natin kung sino-sino ang nasa isang enclosure number. And then, exit po para mag-close yung program. Ang ginagawa naman po ng system namin, first is nag-a-accept at nagse-save ng animal information, which is yung name, species, age, and enclosure number nga po. Second is gumagamit ng arrays para mag-store ng maximum na 50 records. And then, nagdi-display ng user-friendly text-based menu. And tuloy-tuloy siyang nagra-run hanggat hindi pipiliin ng user yung exit option. Sa main interface po namin, pag nag-run yung program, lalabas po yung ganitong menu. And then, dito po magta-type ng number si user at gagawin ng system yung corresponding action. Sa main loop po namin, yung system, nagamit ng do-while loop. Una po, magdi-display ng menu. Pangalawa, kukunin yung input ng user, which is yung choice po. And then, pangatlo, gagamit ng switch case para i-run yung feature na pinili. Tapos, uulit po yung menu hanggat hindi pinipili ni user yung exit. Tapos, yung mga variables naman po na ginamit namin is yung array for data storage, which is yung animal names, animal species, animal age, animal enclosure number. Tapos, yung tracking variable po na animal count na ginagamit po para malaman kung ilang hayop na yung nasa records at saan ilalagay yung kasunod. And then, yung user input variable po na choice, yung pagpili po ni user sa menu, and then yung name to search, species to search, na ginagamit po sa searching and counting. Yung control variables naman po namin is yung boolean running, which is para malaman kung tatakbo po ba yung loop or mag-e-exit na.
In case 1, when adding a new animal, the program must ensure that all the input data is correct and meaningful. This is handled by 4 separated methods, which is get validated name, get validated species, get validated age, and get validated enclosure number. In error catching and validation, when adding a new animal, the program ensures that invalid or incorrect data cannot be stored. This is achieved in two main ways, which is array capacity check and input validation methods. Array capacity check prevents adding more than 50 animals. If the zoo is full, it will display the zoo is full and has exceeded, so it cannot add more. And input validation methods, each user is validated before being stored. Name validation ensures the name is not empty. And the species is not empty. The age is not integer. The age ensures is positive integer, and the enclosure number ensures enclosure number is within 0 to 4. And for case number 2, check if any animals exist and ensures the program doesn't try to display an empty list. First, display table header. It prints column titles for readability. And second, loop through all stored animals. It prints each animal's details in a tabular format and iterates only up to animal count to avoid accesses and use unused array in size. Error catching or validation prevents empty list access and relies on previously validated input for safety input output.
In case 3, this case handles searching for specific animals in the zoo. But before doing any search, the system checks if the list animal count has animals stored. And if animal count is equals to 0, meaning no animals are added yet. So the program stops here, and it will tell the user the animal list is empty. Please add an animal first. Else, here, as you can see, we use a Boolean found flag. So we use it to track whether the animal was found in the loop. And then the system will prompt the user to enter the name of the animal they want to search for. Using a for loop, is search goes through each stored animal name. And here, equals ignore case. It is used so the search is case insensitive. And for example is small caps lion is equals to caps lock lion. And if a match is found, the animal's details, name, species, age, and enclosure number are printed. And the found is set to true, and the loop stops immediately using break. And if it's not found, the system will print animal with the name plus name to search plus not found. A message tells the user the animal does not exist in the zoo list. So now we will proceed to case 4. In this case, it will count how many animals belong to a specific species. Again, before doing the search, the program checks if there are animals in the list. So if animal count is equal to 0, it warns the user and does not continue. It will print the animal list is empty. Please add an animal first. And if it's not empty, the system will ask the user, enter which species of animal would you like to count. And using a for loop, the loop goes through all stored animals. And every time the program finds a match, in a case insensitive, it increments species count. And after the loop, it shows how many animals of that species exists in the zoo.
Dalangin greetings, we proceed to case 5. Ang papaliwanan natin dito is for validation for when the list is empty or not. Nagamit tayo dito ng if situation and lalagay natin dito sa loob is animal count. And magpiprint siya ng animal list is empty, please add animal first kung ang animal count is equal to 0. At kung di naman equal to 0, pupunta siya dito sa else and ipiprint niya to. Mag-i-start muna siya sa boolean false, animal found false, para ma-print itong code na to, and sa dulo magiging true. And gagamit tayo ng int enclosure display equal get valid date enclosure num, and ipiprint tong nasa babang to. And for linear search, to show how many animals is the enclosure, gagamit tayo ng for loop, yung common na for loop na int index equals 0, index less than animal count, index plus plus. Tapos sa loob naman ng for loop na to, gagamit tayo ng if situation, yung enclosure equal animal enclosure num, bracket I. Tapos i-print nyo sa loob ay yung ito. Then saka siya mag-true. Sunod naman, if no animal is found, magre-return yung statement. Yan, ito yung code nun. Tapos proceed naman tayo sa case 6. Magbe-break muna para hindi tuloy-tuloy yung code nito. Nagpo-proceed naman tayo sa case 6. I-print tong thank you for using Zoom8 system. Ito na yung close program. Tapos yung running is equal false. Tapos magbe-break siya. And balik siya sa default. Kung invalid yung yung input. Ito yung input checker. Yan yun lang.
Greetings everyone, my name is Bantad, and for this project of ours, I'll be talking about the parameters, main logic, and return value of these two methods, which are for species and age. First is the get validated species method, as you can see here in my code. As for the parameters in this one, there is none, as you can see here. And that is because this method does not take any arguments, because it gets all the input directly from the user via the use of buffered reader, and that's what the one we used. So when it comes to the main logic, there are 5 things to highlight. Number 1 is the infinite loop, which is this while loop here. And the function of that is to keep asking for input until a valid entry is provided. So with this one, the loop will only break when a return statement is executed. So next is the user input, which is the first line of code inside this loop. This will print a message that says enter the animal's species. After that, it reads the user's input as a string using this reader.read line and then store it in a variable called species input. This one. As for the core validation logic, this one, it checks if the user string is empty using an if-else statement with the condition of species input that is empty that you can see here. If the input is empty, the code will be executed and will print an error message, and that is this one, which says animal species can't be empty. Please try again. Meanwhile, if the input is not empty, the condition will for here and this line of code, which is where the return value is found. And speaking of that return value, this method returns the string species input, as I said here, which this one. Which is then stored in an animal species array, and that is found in the main method. All in all, this method acts like a gatekeeper and guarantees that the main program will never receive an empty string for the animal species. It handles the validation itself to keep the main switch case clean and focused on the task of adding record. Next, we will talk about the get validated age method. And for the parameters, as you can see, it is similar to the get validated species. in that it is also empty because it gets the input directly from the user. And for its main logic, it also runs on a while loop, as you can see here, with the user input and prompt in here. First with the user prompt, which says enter the animal's age, and the input received as a string by the reader that read line and then stored in a variable called age. And then next is, you can see this line of code for the try catch block. But first we'll focus on the try block here, because there is a crucial part of the code here, which is this line that says int age input is equals to integers that parse int age. So what happens in here? This is called this is the crucial part of the logic, because it attempts to convert, or in Java's term, parse, the input string into an integer. And that string we're talking about is the age, which is converted into the int, and by this variable called age input. Next, below we can find the if-else statement, and this is the range validation, where it checks if the integer is negative by the condition called age input is less than 0. And if the input is negative, meaning age input is less than 0, it executes this line of code here, which says animal age can't be negative, please try again. And if the input is positive instead, which is now considered a valid one, the method will proceed to return this input, and it is in here. There. Meanwhile, the catch block here, as you can see, functions so that it catches a number format exception, which is in here. This exception is thrown automatically by the integer parse int if the string age, this one earlier, contains characters that can be converted into a number, can't be converted into a number. Examples of that will be letters, symbols, or empty string. When this error is caught, it will then print this code in here that says error, please input a valid number, and the loop continues, giving the user another chance. Lastly, for its return value, this method returns an integer, as you can see here, and that one, the one being returned is the age input in here. This will be stored then in the animal ages array, which can also be found in the main method. So to sum all up, the method ensures that number one, the input is a number, as can be seen in this catch block here. Number two is that the number is non-negative, which is handled by this if statement here, so that it protects the program from crashing due to the invalid data types. And that is all for the species and age input validation explanation. Thanks for listening and watching.
So, get validated enclosure now. It's the same method used before. It will repeat itself until it gets the right answer or input from the user, and output statements that is considered incorrect or invalid. Next is the overview of our system. Basically, our system provides adding the necessary animals into the zoo. Then next is viewing it. Then next is searching it. Then fourth, counting the animals, and fifth, and displaying the animals with a specific in a specific enclosure. Basically, in crude system, our system only provides create, read, and that's all. There's no delete method and update method yet. We use separated single dimensional arrays for values such as animal names, animal species, animal ages, animal enclosure num. So we could only use or needed to use a single for loop rather than creating nested loops. so to boost the efficiency of our system, and we chose to use static methods and variables, so it's easy to understand, and there's no need for instantiation of variables. And that's all. Thank you.